Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Scott Sherr. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Troscriptions, as well as Health Optimization Medicine and Practice. I'm also a board-certified internal medicine physician.
Hi, I'm Dr. Achacoso. I'm the founder of Smarter Not Harder, makers of the Troscriptions products. I also am the founder of Health Optimization Medicine and Practice.
So today, Ted, we're going to talk about how we make GABA in the brain. And maybe the first thing to say is that GABA can't get across that blood-brain barrier very easily, can it?
No, it's a large molecule. How many kilodaltons now?
You probably know. It's big though, right? And so most things cannot get across that blood-brain barrier unless they have a transporter, right?
Yes.
And so GABA does not have that capacity. And so people take GABA supplements and they feel relaxed and calm, which is what GABA is supposed to do. This could mean they have a leaky brain.
Right.
And that scares people. But what we mean by that is that their blood-brain barrier is not doing what it's supposed to do to keep things out.
And usually that's also a sign that you have a leaky gut.
Right. So if you address the leaky gut, oftentimes you're going to see the barrier would get better too. So as we think about GABA really only being made in the brain, let's talk about how it's actually made itself in the brain. How does it get there, right? So it starts with the amino acid glutamine, right? And so maybe we talk a minute about what glutamine is. I know you're an expert in this. How do we think about glutamine? Where does it work? And why is it so important before we get to the GABA part?
Well, actually, the glutamate that's used in GABA synthesis has to come from glutamine because glutamate itself cannot penetrate the blood-brain barrier. So there's a transporter for glutamine to actually enter the brain, right? And then when it enters the brain, that's when the whole magic begins.
Right. So when you have glutamine coming in and you're getting it converted to GABA, this is a particular enzyme called PAG, right? Which is
phosphate-activated glutamate.
So this is how we get glutamine to turn into glutamate in the brain, right? Then we have glutamate in the brain, which is our primary excitatory neurotransmitter. And then this gets converted over to GABA by another enzyme called glutamate decarboxylate.
Right.
This has two cofactors, right? So one is magnesium.
The other one is vitamin B6.
And so these are things we can test for actually in our patients. And we do this in our practice where if you don't have the amount of GABA that you need, it could be potentially because you don't have the cofactors that are allowing you to convert that glutamate into GABA. So we have glutamine turning into glutamate, and we have glutamate turning into GABA. And there's always this balance between these two. So then we have an enzyme that breaks down GABA. This is called GABA transaminase, right? So we have to have this whole cycle working to be able to make enough GABA and to balance our glutamate and GABA levels.
Actually, what I want to emphasize here is that the GABAergic system is actually one of the unique pathways in the body where the balancing agent comes from the excitatory agent, right? So you have an excitatory neurotransmitter, which is glutamate, and then the inhibitory neurotransmitter is GABA, but it's a delicate dance because the inhibitory transmitter has to come from the excitatory neurotransmitter. It's the same thing that we have with dopamine and norepinephrine, right? So the dopamine is actually the source of the norepinephrine, and that also is a delicate dance that's done by the body, which is a little unfair because, the balancing agent has to come from the one that balances up.
Right. So we're always talking about balance. But this particular example is a very interesting one because you have the primary excitatory balancing with the primary inhibitory neurotransmitters in the brain. And so we always have to have a balance here. If you have too much glutamate, you're going to feel overexcited. You're going to feel tremors. You're going to feel anxious. You're going to feel even depressed or have a difficult time sleeping.
Or have ADHD.
Also, that could be a dopamine deficiency too, right?
Yeah,
but that also could be part of it. But then if you have too much GABA, which is very unusual, then you're going to feel tired all the time. You're going to feel like you can't do anything. You're going to feel sluggish. But it's really uncommon in our day and age to see people that are GABA over deficient. It's because we're always depleting GABA. Because
that's your sloth.
They are really good at being calm, aren't they?
Yeah.
The way we live now, always hyperexcitable, always on. Most of us are GABA deficient, and most of us are depleting GABA over time. So what can we do?
Well, you know me. Lifestyle changes first, right? You have to sleep, right? Because there's a time where actually can replenish your GABAergic system. Second is take pauses during the day. Even just, 2 or 3 breaths, calming breaths every now and then, engage in meditative activities, etc. These simple things can, when you engage your parasympathetic nervous system, you're actually also engaging your GABAergic system to have some more action in your body.
Right. And to try to decrease stress in general, right? Most of us are living with too much on our plate, too overscheduled, too many children. I'm not talking about anybody I know. but that kind of thing where it's just too much for us to handle. And so many of us don't realize that we could probably decrease about 10% of the things that we do every day, and we'd be just fine, probably even more than, right? So,
well, the thing is that we actually think that being busy or being or working too much is a badge of honor. I mean, it's not.
it's the hustle. Yeah.
That's why the name of the company is, smarter, not harder. When someone asks me, are you a hardworking person? No, I'm a smart working person. I'm actually very lazy.
And that's a balanced GABA system right there. So here, guys, we talked about the synthesis of GABA in the brain, coming from glutamine, going out to glutamate, and then glutamate to GABA, and then its breakdown. So this is really important. All these steps are really important, and this is why it's so important to understand how the GABA system works. And again, GABA supplements do not work. If they do work for you, it means that you might have a leaky brain. This often means a leaky gut. So get that checked out, see a doctor, and see if you can do something about it. So a really easy way is to start working on your behavior, your lifestyle, to work on your GABA levels. So decrease your stress, decrease the amount of things you're doing every day, try to relax more, get better sleep. There's also supplements you can try that actually work on the GABA receptor that aren't GABA itself. This could be things like kava and hanakayal and agrin and CBD and CBG and others that are in our products at Troscriptions.